Hi everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan and I get quite a lot of questions on how to eat healthy and live healthy without spending loads and loads of money. And so today I'm going to be sharing with you tips on how to save money around food, but also lifestyle and a few money saving mindset hacks. So without further ado, here are some tips that I've learned over the years that helped me to pay off my debt and also save money. I'm going to begin with some lifestyle money saving tips. And my first tip is to cancel any monthly subscriptions or plans or memberships that you don't use. This might be paying for extra TV channels or music subscriptions or a gym membership or extra internet services. Just assess what you're paying for each month in terms of those sorts of subscriptions and whether they're worth it for you or not. If they are worth it for you, then that's great, but if not, then cancel them. My next tip is one that I have mentioned before, and that is to unsubscribe from mailing lists that are bombarding you with emails trying to sell you stuff. Avoid unnecessary bank fees. So this is as simple as contacting your bank about what you're paying each month if you're not too sure, and again, kind of assessing whether you need some of the services that you might be paying for monthly with your bank. So this might be you're paying for unlimited debit transactions, but you don't need to, etc., etc. It's a good idea, of course, to have a very good overview of what you're paying for each month, especially when it comes to those sorts of things, because little fees like that really add up. My next tip is to use transit instead of a car and walk instead of using transit or Uber or a cab when or if possible. Walking is always going to save you a ton of money, and it's also really, really good for you. I was recently able to sell my car, which made me a bit of money and also saves me a ton of money each month and each year. I know that that's definitely not always feasible for everyone, but just see where you maybe are able to take transit or walk instead. Shop at thrift stores. I am a big thrift store lover. A lot of you may know that if you followed my channel for a while. I really like thrift stores, and you are guaranteed to save a ton of money if you opt for visiting your local thrift store before heading to a big box store if you're in need of something. My next tip is to repurpose old items or articles of clothing. So you could do this by cutting a pair of pants into shorts or capris. This is actually exactly what I did recently. I almost went to the store to get a pair of capris, but I realized that I had an old pair of jeans that I haven't worn in a really long time, and I just cut them into a capri. I also love using old jars that had food in them for candle holders or for carrying smoothies. Make your own DIY beauty products. This could be household cleaners. I know a ton of people who do this, and you likely already have all of the ingredients in your cupboards, but also homemade deodorant is another really simple, really inexpensive beauty product that you can make that can save you a ton of money because you won't be buying it all the time. If you'd like, I have a homemade deodorant recipe up on my channel. I will leave a link to it below. My next lifestyle related tip is to sell stuff that you are getting rid of or that you're decluttering. I cannot tell you how big of a proponent of this I am. I particularly love Garage Sale, the app Garage Sale. I have that on my phone, but Kijiji, Craigslist are also great options. I've sold countless items over the years, clothes that I've gotten rid of or furniture pieces that I've gotten rid of when I've done decluttering in the past. One person's trash is another person's treasure. That's what they say. Also, who doesn't love some extra cash? Let's move on to some ways that you can save money around food. A lot of you guys ask me about this. My first tip is to not eat out too often. This is an obvious one, but it's a really big one if you're trying to save money. Opt for making homemade meals. That is the best option. You are going to save a lot of money by doing that, and it's also a lot better for you. Buy food in bulk. Now, I personally don't buy a ton of food in bulk, only because I tend to shop throughout the week as needed, but there definitely are a few things that I do like to buy in bulk, like different nuts and seeds or items that I'll keep in my freezer. I don't mind buying more of, but for a lot of people, buying in bulk is essential, and it is a really fantastic way to save money. Often buying in bulk or buying larger quantities, you can get discounted pricing. Shop at local markets. This is another really great way to save money and also support your local economy. economy. So check out your local farmers markets. Often prices are a lot cheaper and you can get more for your money. Of course, I think that buying organic is important. As a holistic nutritionist, this is something that I value, and I think that it would be wonderful if the whole world could, if everything could be grown and purchased organically as much as possible. But the reality is that we can't always afford to buy every single thing organic. And sometimes, it's a better option to buy local as opposed to buying a fruit or a vegetable that's been shipped halfway across the world. So definitely shop local, check out your local markets or specialty shops. And when it comes to organic food, I highly suggest that you check out EWG's, or the Environmental Working Group's, Guide to Pesticides in Produce. So they have a Dirty Dozen list and a Clean 15 list, which is a list that they put out annually that lists the fruits and vegetables that are most highly sprayed with pesticides and the ones that are least sprayed with pesticides. So you can kind of, make that decision for yourself which ones you may want to choose to buy non-organic. Stay clear of junk food aisles. Now, I'm not saying to never treat yourself, but really, if you're at the grocery store, stay out of the junk food aisles because the cost of those sorts of things really adds up and it's no good for you either. My next tip is one that you've likely heard before, and that's to avoid shopping when you're hungry. And that is because if you are really hungry when you're at the grocery store, you're gonna wanna buy everything. Shop with a grocery list. This is a fantastic way to head to the grocery store knowing exactly what you need and to avoid buying food that will go to waste. Another really helpful thing you can do is consider meal planning. This is a great way to kind of shop for the things that you know that you'll need for the next few days or week, and also to avoid food waste. Lastly, I want to share with you some mindset, money-saving hacks and tips that have worked for me personally when shopping, different questions that I like to ask myself, and just things that I like to keep in mind. And the first is to know your why before you buy. Ask yourself if you need it. Is it an impulse buy? What do you plan on using it for? Asking yourself these sorts of questions when you're wanting to buy something can help you to distinguish between a simple want or a necessity for something. Shop with intention. Ask yourself if the thing that you are buying is something that you intended to buy when you arrived at the store or not. A lot of times we walk out of a store with all kinds of items that we didn't even know existed before walking in. We've all been there. We've all been there. My next tip is something that's been really effective for myself, and that is to pause before you buy, especially if there's something that you're not too sure about. But in general, sometimes it's a really good idea to just stop for a moment, pause, put the item down for 1 to 2 days. And after that time, if it's still on your mind and you're really thinking about it, then go back and revisit the item. But if not, if you've totally forgotten about it, then you did not need that item in the first place. My next tip is to remember why you want to save money in the first place. Are you hoping to pay off or pay down your debt? Are you wanting to save up for something that's important to you? If it helps, keep a little list with you if you find that you tend to, shop quite a bit, just so that you can remind yourself if needed. My next tip is to practice gratitude. And I know some of you might be like, I know, or you're gonna be like, that's not going to stop me in the midst of a purchase. But honestly, take 60 seconds or a couple of minutes to just be grateful for the things that you already do have in your life, to help you remember that we often already have enough. And my last tip is revisit hobbies or other activities that you really love that maybe you haven't done in a while or that you've forgotten about. This might be writing, photography, baking, painting, or a weekly sport or activity. And partaking in those things again can really help to bring us a lot of joy and fulfillment in our lives that can replace the need for shopping all of the time or spending money. And that is it for the tips that I wanted to share with you today. These are all things that at different times in my life have really helped me to save my money and, like I mentioned, pay off my debt ultimately, which was really fantastic. And I would love to hear from you though. What are some ways, or what's a habit that you've developed that has really helped you to save money or pay down your debt or save up for something that you loved? You guys always have really great insights to share as well, and I'm sure others would love to hear from you, so leave a comment below. You can subscribe to my channel for new videos every single week. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it so that I know that you liked this topic, and I will see you very soon. Bye!